Yo, it's Tori G here. Just wanted to tap in with you one more time. My good friends at Heritage Audio sent me their two new Neve style EQ plugins, preamp slash EQ plugins. So to start, we all know and love that nice, thick 1073 sound. And so we got the 73 preamp, but we got the 81 EQ on one. So we got the 8173, and then we got another one that is the 6673. And what's cool about the 81 and the 66 is the 81 is a bit more cleaner, a little bit more flexible as far as being much more gentle, still having that nice tone. But then the 66, that thing is a tone beast, you know what I'm saying? That mid-range boost. You might need that for your bass guitars, or you might need a little extra oomph on them vocals in the mid-range. That is the one of the ones that you could use for that. And then the 81 is definitely more clean and nice and pristine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the session. So I got a song by my good friend Christiana, and this song is called All the King's Men. And we got some vocals, and we're gonna go ahead and rock out. Check it out.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Settle the score. Isn't it funny? Fighting the war, making their money. What is it for? If we have nothing.
Y'all get the point. So let's go ahead and slap this on the lead track. I'm just gonna solo the one track here, the main one of the main parts, and we're gonna slap on the both of them. So we're gonna see how these sound together or against each other. A little internal shootout from Heritage Audio. Let's go. So first and foremost, on the left we have the 8173, and on the right we have that fat 6673. Let's go ahead and run them through their paces and see how they sound. Typical 1073 fashion that we're used to, the 1073 preamp plus the EQ, but since this is like the console version, we have a fader. We also have a high pass power, low Z, high Z button, EQ in, EQ out, phase flip, and we have high pass filters. You have one at 50, one at 80, and then when you combine those, that starts at 300 hertz. So nice and simple layout, just as usual, what we're familiar with. One thing I forgot to mention, these include frequency selectors. The original 1073, the top band, the high shelf band, does not have frequency selectors. It starts at around 7K and goes straight up, and you just got to deal with that. But later on down the line, the design came to be where you could actually select different frequencies. So the way you select these, you can actually click the number, or you can drag down on the sides here, and then you can boost or cut whatever the bands are. Let's go ahead and engage the 8173, and we're going to see how that sounds. I'm going to boost it so we can hear how it distorts, and then I'm going to make some changes. Here we go.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Settle the score. Isn't it funny? Fighting their war, making their money. What is it for? If we have nothing.
I gotta be honest with you. This sounds very, very, very similar to the real thing that I have. If I drive it, it's gonna do that. And sometimes I do that for that, like, distorted ad lib kind of joint. All right, let's go ahead and mess with these bands. I'm gonna put. I like to use 16 because the slope is pretty nice. Here we go.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry?
Yeah.
Settle the score. Isn't it funny? Fighting their war.
Okay, I really like that. It cleaned it up, but it still has that nice fatness to it. I boosted it right around 100 hertz just to kind of bring some of that life, that low end thickness back. All right, let's go to the 6673.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry?
So to me, this one breaks up in the top end a little bit more. It's a little bit more gritty in the top end, a little bit more shiny. So let's hear how the boost goes. Engage the EQ.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Settle the score. Isn't it funny? Fighting their war.
Yeah, I really like the thickness in the mid-range, especially on her vocal. It brings her mid-range to life. It may allow her to kind of stand up a little bit better in the mix because that mid-range is a lot more present. Let's go ahead and do a A-B of the two.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Settle the score. Isn't it funny?
I'm hearing that the 66 definitely thicker, a lot more round, a little bit more like open but round, while the 81 is much more focused and direct. We'll see how those kind of play out in the mix. Let's start with the 81. I'll bring the vocals and I'll bring the effects back. We'll see how it do.
Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Settle the score. Isn't it funny? Fighting the war. Making their money. What is it for? If we have nothing.
I don't know about you, but I really think that the 66 works for this style. It's a lot more, it makes things feel a little bit bigger instead of more focused, but it still has that presence. It really brings her forward on top of the instrumental, and actually in a sense, it makes it sit in with the music better. All right, I like that. Let's run all the backgrounds into the preamps here and EQ.
All in your head. All the king's men, the broken, all the king's men. They're stupid, they're slogans, all in your head.
Okay, I really like how the 66 kind of tightens up. I engaged both high pass filters to kind of do that soft roll off starting at 300. I like how tight that made it. Let's go ahead and move to the 81, see how we do with that.
All in your head. All the king's men, the broken, all the king's men. They're stupid, they're slogans, all in your head. All the king's men, the broken, all the king's men.
I like that. Yeah, I really like that. So the 81 is a little bit more aggressive with the high pass filter. So I had to do a little bit more to bring up the bottom end again. That's cool. I think the 81 will be great for that purpose of a whole lot of vocals or sounds going together or something really rich in the low end. You want it to be a lot more tighter rather than a little tighter. You want to use the high pass filters on the 81 instead. All right, let's go ahead and run it through the mix with everything else.
All
Gotta be honest with you, the 66 is winning in this mix. I think it's just the style of the song. I think if it was a hip hop or a rap song, the 81 will be winning a lot more because it's, that much more crispy, much more forward, much more clean. But the way the 66 rounds everything off and makes that mid-range real nice and real thick, that one works for me on this mix. Which one would you choose? I'm going to go ahead and play the song and just enjoy, I guess. Y'all tell me.